Cancer, what if the most important changes in your life right now are not the ones happening around you but the ones happening inside you? What if the shifts that will ultimately reshape your relationships, your finances, your health, and your entire sense of self are already underway? Not in the visible world but in the invisible landscape of your inner being. That is exactly what is happening. And if you have been feeling restless lately, if you have been sensing that something is moving beneath the surface of your life without being able to name it, this message is going to bring everything into focus. There are 12 inner movements taking place within you right now, and together, they form a pattern that could redefine the direction of your entire path. Stay through all 12 because each one builds on the last, and by the end, you will see a picture of your own transformation that is both undeniable and deeply reassuring. Movement 1. The first inner movement is a quiet dismantling of the beliefs that have kept you playing small. Cancer, you have carried limiting beliefs for so long that they no longer feel like beliefs. They feel like facts. Beliefs like, I am too sensitive to succeed in a competitive world. Or the people I love always end up leaving. Or I will never feel truly secure no matter how hard I work. These are not truths. They are stories that were written during your most painful moments, and they stuck because the pain was real enough to make them feel permanent. But something is happening now. These beliefs are starting to crack. Not because someone has argued you out of them, but because your lived experience is beginning to contradict them. You are finding moments of strength in situations where you expected weakness. You are experiencing loyalty from people you were certain would leave. You are discovering small but undeniable pockets of security that your old beliefs said were impossible. And every time one of those moments happens, the old story loses a little more of its power. This is the first movement, and it is the most foundational, because everything else that is changing inside you depends on this. When the limiting beliefs begin to fall, the ceiling lifts. And Cancer, you have been living under that ceiling for far too long. Movement 2. The second inner movement is a deepening of your connection to your own intuition. Cancer has always been one of the most intuitive signs, but for much of your life, you doubted what your intuition was telling you. You felt things strongly but then second-guessed yourself. You sensed danger but talked yourself out of it because the logical evidence did not support what your gut was screaming. And more often than you would like to admit, you later discovered that your intuition was right all along. But now, something is shifting. You are starting to trust those feelings without needing external proof first. When something feels off, you are honoring that feeling instead of arguing with it. When your instincts tell you to move towards something, you are beginning to follow without waiting for a guarantee. This deepening trust in your own inner knowing is one of the most powerful things that can happen for a Cancer, because your intuition is not just a vague emotional response. It is a sophisticated guidance system that draws from every experience you have ever had, every pattern you have ever observed, and every emotional truth you have ever absorbed. When you trust it fully, you gain access to a level of wisdom that no amount of external advice can replicate. And Cancer, that trust is growing stronger every single day. Movement 3. The third inner movement involves a shift in what you believe you deserve. For most of your life, Cancer, you have been generous with others and stingy with yourself. You believed that the people around you deserved comfort, love, abundance, and peace. But when it came to your own life, you set the bar lower. You told yourself that having enough was sufficient, that being tolerated was close enough to being celebrated, that a life free of major crisis was the same thing as a good life. But it is not, and you are finally starting to see that. You are beginning to realize that you deserve the same quality of love you give, the same level of attention, the same depth of care. And this realization is not making you selfish, it is making you whole. Because a Cancer who understands their own worth does not stop giving. They simply stop accepting less than they deserve in return. And that is a shift that changes everything about the way your life unfolds from this point forward. Movement 4. The fourth inner movement is a release of the need to control outcomes. Cancer, your desire for control has always been rooted in fear. Not the fear of power, but the fear of pain. You learned early that when things go out of control, people get hurt. And since your primary mission in life has always been to prevent pain, both for yourself and for the people you love, controlling outcomes felt like the only responsible option. But you are starting to see the cost of that approach. The exhaustion of trying to anticipate every possible outcome, the anxiety of constantly scanning for threats, the loneliness of being the one who carries the weight of every decision, because you do not trust anyone else to handle it properly. And you are tired, Cancer. Not the kind of tired that a weekend off can fix. The kind of tired that only surrender can heal. So you are beginning to let go. Not of your standards, not of your values, not of your desire for a beautiful life, but of the illusion that you can control how it all unfolds. And in the space that opens when you release that illusion, something extraordinary is entering. Trust. Trust in the process. Trust in the timing. Trust that the universe has been paying attention to your prayers, even when the answers seem slow in coming. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Movement 5. The fifth inner movement is a recalibration of where you seek comfort. Cancer, you are a comfort-seeking sign. There is nothing wrong with that. The problem is not the desire for comfort itself. It is where you have been looking for it. For years, you sought comfort in the approval of others, in the routines that kept life predictable, in the food, the habits, the patterns that numbed the edges of your anxiety. And while those sources provided temporary relief, they never touched the deeper ache. They never reached the part of you that was truly in need of soothing. But now, you are beginning to find comfort in places that actually sustain you. In silence, in nature, in your own company, in prayer or meditation, or simply sitting still without the need for distraction. These sources of comfort do not create dependency. They create strength. And as you lean into them more and more, you will find that the external things you used to cling to gradually lose their grip. Not because you have disciplined yourself out of wanting them, but because you have found something better. Something that fills you without depleting you. Something that calms your nervous system without numbing your spirit. Movement 6. The sixth inner movement is a shift in the way you define strength. For most of your life, Cancer, you equated strength with endurance. The ability to keep going no matter what. The ability to carry more than your share without complaining. The ability to absorb other people's pain without showing that it affected you. And while that kind of endurance is remarkable, it is not the only form of strength. And it is not the healthiest one. The strength that is emerging in you now looks different. It looks like saying, I cannot do this alone and I am not going to pretend that I can. It looks like admitting, I am hurting, and asking for support instead of hiding the wound. It looks like choosing rest over productivity when your body is begging for a pause. This new definition of strength is going to feel vulnerable at first. It is going to feel like weakness because the old definition was so deeply ingrained that anything softer feels like failure. But Cancer, it is not weakness. It is the highest form of courage. Because anyone can keep going when they are numb. It takes genuine bravery to stop, to feel, and to ask for what you need. Movement 7. The seventh inner movement is a growing awareness of the patterns you have been repeating unconsciously. Cancer, you are a creature of habit, and while many of your habits serve you well, there are others that have been quietly sabotaging your growth for years. Patterns of overgiving that leave you depleted. Patterns of conflict avoidance that allow problems to fester until they explode. Patterns of emotional absorption that leave you carrying feelings that were never yours to begin with. But now, you are beginning to see these patterns clearly. Not with judgment, but with curiosity. You are noticing when you start to fall into the familiar groove of a behavior that does not serve you. And instead of following it automatically, you are pausing. You are asking yourself, is this what I want to do? Or is this just what I have always done? And that pause, that moment of conscious awareness is changing everything. Because every time you choose differently, even once, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one. And over time, those small conscious choices accumulate into a completely new way of being. Movement 8. The eighth inner movement is a softening of the armor you have worn around your heart. Cancer, you feel everything, and because of that, you have learned to protect yourself. You developed layers of emotional armor that kept you safe from the worst of the world's cruelty. You learned to smile when you were breaking inside. You learned to laugh off the things that secretly devastated you. You learned to present a version of yourself that seemed stronger than you felt, because showing your true vulnerability felt too dangerous. But that armor has cost you. It has kept out pain, yes, but it has also kept out depth. It has prevented certain people from truly knowing you. It has created a subtle but persistent loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people who love you, but who have never actually seen the real you. And now, slowly, carefully, you are beginning to let the armor soften. Not all at once. Not with everyone. But with select people, in select moments, you are allowing yourself to be seen. Fully. Without the performance. Without the protective layers. Just you. And the responses you are receiving are not what the armor predicted. Instead of rejection, you are finding acceptance. Instead of judgment, you are finding tenderness. Instead of abandonment, you are finding people who move closer. Cancer, the armor served its purpose. It got you through seasons that would have destroyed you without it. But you do not need it anymore. Not in the same way. And the fact that you are beginning to let it down is one of the most courageous inner movements of all. Some people watch. Others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting. It's about moving. Movement 9. The 9th inner movement is a reconciliation with your own darkness. Cancer, you have always been perceived as the nurturer, the caretaker, the soft and gentle soul who lives to make others comfortable. And you are all of those things. But you are also more. You have a shadow side that you have rarely allowed the world to see. A capacity for anger. A depth of grief. A fierce protectiveness that can turn aggressive when someone threatens what you love. A stubbornness that borders on obsession when you believe you are right. For years, you tried to suppress these parts of yourself because they did not fit the image you believed you were supposed to project. But denying your shadow does not make it disappear. It makes it stronger. It makes it leak out in ways you cannot control through passive aggression, through emotional withdrawal, through sudden outbursts that seem to come from nowhere. What is happening now is different. You are beginning to acknowledge these darker parts of yourself without shame. You are starting to see that your anger is not a flaw. It is a boundary enforcer. That your grief is not weakness. It is proof of how deeply you love. That your stubbornness is not rigidity. It is devotion. When you stop fighting your shadow and start integrating it, you become complete. You become a person of extraordinary range and depth. A person who can nurture and protect. Who can be gentle and fierce. Who can love with open arms and still know exactly when to close them. This integration is one of the most profound inner movements a person can experience, and Cancer, you are right in the middle of it. Movement 10. The 10th inner movement is a growing sense of your own legacy. Cancer, you are reaching a stage of life where the question is no longer just, what am I going to do today? It is becoming, what will I leave behind? And that question is not morbid. It is sacred, because it forces you to think beyond your own comfort, beyond your own timeline, and into the realm of contribution and meaning. You are beginning to ask yourself what you want the people you love to remember about you. What values you want to pass on. What kind of mark you want to leave on the world, however large or small. And these questions are reshaping your priorities in real time. Things that used to seem important are falling away. Things that used to seem insignificant are rising to the surface. You are discovering that your legacy is not about what you achieve. It is about how you make people feel. And Cancer, you have been building that legacy your entire life without even knowing it. Every meal you cooked with love. Every tear you wiped from someone else's face. Every time you stayed when everyone else left. That is your legacy. And it is more powerful than any monument. Movement 11. The 11th inner movement is a quiet but undeniable sense of alignment. You are beginning to feel that the different parts of your life, your inner world and your outer world, your private self and your public self, your desires and your actions, are starting to come together. For years, there was a gap between who you were on the inside and how you showed up on the outside. You performed roles that did not always fit. You smiled in rooms where you felt invisible. You said yes when everything inside you was screaming no. But that gap is closing now. And as it closes, you are experiencing something that feels like coming home to yourself. Not home as a place, but home as a state of being. A feeling that you no longer have to pretend or perform or fragment yourself to be acceptable. A sense that who you are is enough, exactly as you are, without modification or apology. This alignment is not something you can force. It is something that happens naturally when you do the inner work. And Cancer, you have been doing that work quietly, persistently, and courageously for longer than anyone knows. Movement 12. The 12th and final inner movement is the one that holds all the others together, and it is the most powerful of all. It is the emergence of a deep, unshakable faith that the best is yet to come. Cancer, there have been seasons in your life when you genuinely believed that your best days were behind you. When the weight of disappointment and loss and exhaustion was so heavy that looking forward felt pointless. When hope felt like a luxury you could no longer afford. But that season is ending. Something inside you has shifted, and you can feel it even if you cannot fully articulate it yet. A quiet knowing that what lies ahead is not just more of the same, that the patterns are breaking, that the foundation is strengthening, that the life you have been building through all those years of invisible inner work is finally starting to take shape in the visible world. This faith is not blind optimism. It is earned. It is the hard-won confidence of a soul that has walked through fire and emerged not just intact, but refined. You have been tested, Cancer. Tested in ways that few people will ever understand. And you passed. Not because you never fell, but because every time you fell, you got back up. Every time you lost hope, you found it again. Every time the world told you to quit, something inside you refused. And that refusal, that stubborn, beautiful, relentless refusal to give up on yourself, that is the engine that drives every single one of these 12 inner movements. They are not random. They are not coincidental. They are the natural, inevitable result of a spirit that has decided, once and for all, that it is worthy of transformation. In Cancer, you are. You always have been. The path ahead is clearer than it has ever been. Walk it with confidence. Walk it with faith. Walk it knowing that every step you take is carrying you closer to the life you were always meant to live. You have two options after this video: close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.